Hello and welcome to the Vigilance Committee. Today we have Dr. Justin Spees with us, aka the dreaded Rabble Rouser, and we're going to be sharing his body of work today. Um, Before we do that, here comes the intro. All right, again, welcome to the Vigilance Committee. Nikki, have you got any housekeeping items that we need to go over before we let Dr. Justin Spees introduce himself?
Just real quick, timeouts are scrolling across the bottom. That will be changed later. Hello, everyone in chat. Thank you for being here with us. And I do want to thank everyone who took time out last night to go and watch Utah Cop Watch's video of Utah defender being arrested and for sharing that out. We appreciate that. That's what this channel is about is, getting eyes on everything that we can, sharing it out and getting all the help that we can. So thank you. And once again, hello chat, hello mods. You guys sit back and be prepared for a wonderful show.
All right. So thanks again, Doctor, for meeting with us today. I do want to show you the respect that City Council members never show you. So
I appreciate that, man. But yeah, feel free, just call me Justin. Yeah,
okay, I appreciate it.
that. That's a really cool intro you have there, man. Did you make that yourself?
No, Tyrants Beware made that for us.
Oh,
He
really?
also did our outro too, that we absolutely love. Yeah,
Yeah, that's really cool. That looks really sharp.
yeah. So what we can do is we can just start right from the very beginning.
Sure.
This kind of will give people an idea of who you are and what you're about. And if I remember right, when I share this screen here, I'll kind of preface it a little bit. There we go. Share it. Let's make it big here. This is a news story. Mask battle turns physical. And I believe you were attacked by just somebody that pulled over in his car and wanted to steal your sign and attack you.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. That's right.
and
Mind
and so
mind
what?
if I give
Yeah,
you some background on all that? All
absolutely. Please do.
right. Okay. So this all started. This incident here was in the very beginning of September of 2021. So it was like September 2nd, I believe. And what it is during COVID, so basically everything for me starts with COVID, and I had from the very beginning when it first hit back in the spring of 2020 or the late winter of 2020. I did not like what was happening. I did not like what was going on. And over the course of the next year and a half until the summer of 2021, the county that I lived in Kansas had put in a mask mandate for the county, and likewise the school district had done the same thing as well. And then those had expired into the spring of 2021, but then over the summer, the school district said that they're putting in another mask mandate for their all students in their school and anyone that goes in there. And so that's when I was just like, all right, I've had enough of this shit. When is this going to end? Are they always going to be doing this shit? And so what I did is I just wrote some stuff on some signs that I really believed then and believe now still on multiple levels that it's child abuse, masking children, and so I wrote on one sign, masks on kids is child abuse, and then I always had that sign with me, and then I had a second sign that I held that I rotated in and out, but it usually had a message along the lines of, especially right away, the message was masks destroy child attachment and masks impede child development. And so my signs there were not political whatsoever. They came at it from just a concern point of view, trying to alert people to waking up to what's going on, because my background is in human development. I have a doctorate in lifespan human development from K-State, and also I have a master's degree in marriage and family therapy and a bachelor's in addiction counseling. And as a therapist, I worked with children who had been abused, and families of children that had been abused. That's kind of my area. And but also, as a developmentalist, as someone that is, has a degree in human development and teaches human development, child attachment is very important to me, and understanding that and the importance of it and how masks would affect it. And so I put those on two signs, and I walked outside the school district building there in Lawrence. And this video here is not that school district building. That's outside of a school, but and I'll explain that here in a second. But so I went and I started a protest there outside the school district. And part of my becoming a Christian and a believer in Jesus, it started right then as I walked out there. And there were just too many things that I wouldn't, you just can't call coincidence. And one of the big things for me is that that intersection where the school district was located is a very busy intersection. And so I'd go sit out there for hours. When I first started, I'd go out there at noon and I'd go till 6 o'clock at night. And that was in July of 2021. It was hot as shit out there. There's no shade, just roasting out there. But the important thing for me was that there were so many people that were seeing those signs and seeing that message, and because over time, thousands and thousands and thousands of eyeballs saw those signs. And so I sat out there every single day until they lifted that child mask mandate in the school, which was in March of 2022. And um, that first month in particular, I sat there by myself. Nobody showed up. It was exactly 1 month. People started to show up, and then that was also around the time then exactly when the county again, Douglas County, put in their mask mandate again for beginning with children at age 2. And so that's
Oh,
where I kind of came on the scene through that protest, and then also showing up at the meetings. And I also started speaking at the school board meetings beginning in September. And so anyways, that where this video is right there, like I said, that's in September of 21. And basically I would go uh starting in August when the school was back in when school opened up for the year. I went and I just stood in front of that school there, and that school is Sunset Hill Elementary. And I would stand there with my signs as well in the morning during drop off time, and then in the afternoons I'd go back out to the school district and stand there. And after that month, people started showing up, and we never got as big as I thought we needed to get to have our voices heard loud and clear. But we had people show up consistently. I never sat out there alone again. There was always people that showed up there, and oftentimes large numbers. We got up to about 21 at one time, and and it was good. And we went and spoke at all these meetings and whatnot. And so anyways, here in September, I'm just standing out there on the corner with my sign at the school. The school is on the left of the screen. It's just like over my shoulder there, and I'm standing there with my signs. This car here in the crosswalk there just pulls up, and no words exchanged, unprovoked. I didn't know the guy then. I don't know the guy now. I haven't seen him again since that day. We didn't even exchange any words at all. He just pulls up, hops out, rips the signs out of my hand, and then takes the one and attempts to swing it at me. And so it was, the whole incident was caught on, and I go and I protect myself, and I protect my well-being, I protect my property, and it was all caught on this camera, the security camera of a house across the street, and that's where this footage is. And so this is a news report out of Kansas City from a station called KCTV5, and they went and covered it. And so that's what that's all about there.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and play the video. Here we go.
A school day started out with a scuffle between two adults. It happened outside of Sunset Hill Elementary in Lawrence. Police say it happened because one of them tried to steal a protest sign. KCTV5's Nathan Vickers is live to tell us what happened here. Nathan?
Well, Brad, since the start of the school year, there have been demonstrators here at Sunset Hill Elementary, some against masks, some for masks. But every day of the school year so far, there's been one man in particular out here holding up his signs. You'll always find Justin Spees standing by the Lawrence School District offices around 3 p.m.
I'm out here every day.
He's been protesting the district and county mask requirements.
Zeitgeist always moves. And in this country, we look back oftentimes at the stuff that we did as a society and say, what were we thinking?
In the morning, Spees demonstrates by Sunset Hill Elementary. He usually sets up across the street from Matt Hornicke's house near the crosswalk.
Day one, first day back to school, anti-mask protester decided that he was going to sit on the corner over there and make sure that he got his word out to everyone.
He doesn't agree with Spees, and he says he's...
So, yeah, you make sure you're getting your word out to everyone, and you're gaining supporters to stand out there with you. And this went on for months, right?
Yep, it went till March of 2022. And
Okay.
so we were out there every day, and I mean that every day. We were out there when it was raining, we were out there when it was hot, we were out there when it was cold, we were out there on
Snowing.
a blizzard one day. I said earlier I didn't sit out there again by myself, but there was one time when there was a blizzard in December, and I was just sitting out there, and there were no cars hardly even driving by. But the reason for that is because my message was serious, and and I wanted to show that it was serious, and I wasn't going to be deterred by the weather of all things, but I wanted to show how serious I was about these masks and the impact that they're having on kids. And so that's what I did. I went and stood out there, and that's how that went.
And I can imagine that neighbor who vehemently disagrees with you, he probably thought, man, that guy has courage of his convictions. Look at him. He's out there in this blizzard.
Well, I wouldn't give him that much credit. He's a,
but the thought was probably in the back of his mind. It had to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd like to think it was anyway. I mean, some people are just so dense they don't get it.
Well, that's the thing. The reason why I say don't give him so much credit is he's a reflection of what the people were like there at the time, and especially now. But Lawrence, Kansas, which is where that is a very liberal. It's the most liberal spot in Kansas. The University of Kansas is there, and they're all liberals. And like I said, and earlier in my introduction, I made it clear on my signs to specifically do this, is that this was not political. My signs were not political in any way whatsoever, but these people made it political. I mean, the guy almost has disgust when he says he had to get his word out. He says it like that. He's like disgusted.
Yeah, it was a disparaging remark, I could tell.
Right. And so that's the way that it was. And prior to this news report, prior to this incident, the local papers had written about me in the news, and it was framed as that I was drawing concern from the local community. I was painted as a threat. I was painted with a lot of things that just simply were not true and were not happening. Like, for example, I mean, they said that I was like going up to the schools and looking inside the windows during the day, and I never did that. I never did that, obviously, and that's
they were trying to make you out as a creeper. Yeah.
Well, and it's easily provable because that would be called a crime of some sort. The police would be involved, but that never exists. You can't go and find some case number on it because that never happened. And that's just one of the examples. And so they painted me as this guy, and it was all political based on COVID. They based it all on COVID, and that's something I hope we never forget, that time period during COVID was a very divisive time, and it was around how our views on COVID, and that was made, political. And anybody that demonized them, and especially people that like me, that went out there and it were the first people out there, every single obviously name in the book called, but you see in this video that we're watching, violence happens as well. I mean, it's
Yeah.
they lost their minds, and they started to look at us as we were less than human.
Yeah. I completely agree. I'm going to play a little bit more of this, but we're not going to watch the whole thing because we do want to make sure that everybody puts Dreaded Rabble Rouser into the chat. And if you haven't already subscribed, be sure and do so. Watch his
Well,
body of
and
work.
at least like Brandon says, at least Justin, you understand your rights. A lot of protesters really have no clue that, the cops could come and say, "Hey, take it down the road, get out of here," and they would just walk off. You, on the other hand, actually understand what you're doing, and you stand your ground.
Well, that's precisely right, and that's exactly what happened. So later that day, after I got attacked there, the interim police chief and one of the higher ups that was there on the scene that that showed up actually came to my house, not to see if I was okay or anything, but to say, "Hey, can we get you to? We're trying to de-escalate the situation. Can we get you to just move across the street? We're not saying you can't do your protests. You can just move across the street." And first of all, I'm like, de-escalate. I've done nothing to escalate this. A guy standing there with his sign and gets attacked for no reason. How did I escalate anything? But secondly, no, I'm not going to go across the street, because then tomorrow you'll be at my place and be like, "Hey, can we just get you to go around the corner?" And then if I go around the
Yeah.
corner, then they'll want me down the block, and then nobody can see me. And so no,
Yeah.
you're exactly right, Nikki. Stand
Yeah.
your fucking ground on that shit. No way.
Absolutely. And I always say, you give the government an inch, they will take that mile.
For sure.
And
For
they'll take
sure.
everything. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's play a little bit more of this, and then we're not going to finish it off because I do want to send people over to your channel. So,
Tired of the spectacle. But even he was surprised when he saw this going on outside. His security cameras show what happened.
Saw the blue car pull up and jump out, take the signs out of his hands, threw them into the middle of the street, which got Justin, is his name, riled up, and they were out in the middle of the street.
The video shows Spees chasing after the man.
I defended myself from someone that was taking my property and was a threat to my physical well-being.
Hornicky wanted to break up the scuffle right away.
yeah, he's probably saying "hey" to you to break it up, right?
Of
Not the guy
course.
that attacked you in the first place.
Right.
If you guys want to see the end of this, just go to his channel. It's in there.
And so what this video doesn't capture, but the entire security video is available online. And what ends up happening after we get up in the street there, that fool, the guy that attacked me, that fool, he gets up and still the persistent bastard, he picks up my sign and tries to walk off with it, and I run up from behind him and I just snatch it back out of his hand. I'm like, "Give me my fucking sign, man. What are you doing?" I mean, you talk about the definition of unhinged. Like, geez, take it easy. And so what happened then is there was in the video there, you can see the crossing guard across the way. He was a witness. The guy that security camera, the guy with the phone was a witness, and then there was a guy that was driving by, and he yells out his window. He's like, "Hey man, I saw everything that happened. I'm gonna pull over. I'm gonna be a witness. You didn't do anything wrong." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, man." So we had those three witnesses, and it was caught on camera. And then you also had my victim statement, and that guy was not charged with anything at any point in time. I haven't even been contacted again about this case at all since that day that I told the police that I not only wanted the most serious charges filed against him, which would have been battery and theft, because battery, in Kansas, oftentimes we think of it as assault when you make contact with someone, but it's battery in Kansas. Assault is threatening, doing threatening things. A battery is when you make contact with someone. So I wanted battery charges, and I wanted theft, and I wanted the least charges as well. So he illegally parked in that crosswalk at any point in time, but it was drop off time right there. So you talk about being a threat and a danger to children, and the police, as far as I know, didn't even charge him with those obvious. They're all obvious, but just parking in that
Yeah.
spot right there, they could have got him for that, but
Yeah.
they didn't do anything about it at all, and it just sets the tone for how the community felt they could interact with me. And about 7 weeks later, I was at a school there in Lawrence, a different school just around the corner from that school right there. They share property. but there was a vaccine clinics that the health department partnered with the school district with, and they were having vaccine clinics in the schools. And so I stood outside that building with a sign that was against the vaccines. And a similar situation happened like that, not with a guy pulling up in his car, but one of the people, the father and his son were walking up. The father came up to me in the same aggressive manner as he did, and I ended up getting charged with 3 felonies, and one of them got dropped, and 2 of them I took a plea deal on to reduce charges. But it was the
Oh,
same. It was the same situation, and so, like I was saying, like, if the police and the prosecutors would have gone after that guy as they should have, the original guy that attacked me in that video, it sends the message. It's a deterrent for the
right.
community.
And that other thing probably never would have happened.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
yes, and it was the powers that be that were making these decisions and telling the cops not to even do anything about it. That's all they are,
Right.
is thugs. They work for the bosses and just do what the bosses tell them to do.
Well, and that
Investigate what they tell
leads
them to do, and not investigate what they tell them not to. So
precisely, and that leads to another video that we'll get to here, but it's the Josh Seiden videos, who's the deputy DA. I specifically went into the office just this past January, so 2+ years later, I'm still wondering what the fuck happened, and I
yeah,
wanted to ask them specifically about that, and that's where those videos come from.
yeah. And so yeah, we're definitely going to show those, just because I just want to show the stupidity of this guy too, and what he was doing, because he'd already knew that you were posting all of your stuff on YouTube, and he knew that you would record things, and he also knew that you were speaking at these meetings, so he already knew what to expect when you came into his office, and he just wanted to get you out. But we're going to get to that. But I wanted to watch this one, viewpoint discrimination here. I think it's pretty important that people see this and see how you speak, and how every single meeting, you introduce yourself as Dr. Justin Spiess. But these meetings, the powers that be, never address you with any kind of respect at all. So here we go.
No, never.
My name is Dr. Justin Spiess. Back on the July 18th meeting here at the city meeting, I came in here and tried to speak about masks and a mask policy that you all put in place. And I was cut off and told that it wasn't germane to the business of the commission. So a mask policy that you guys put in place wasn't germane. I got escorted out of here by the police. October 2022, I came in here and tried to talk about how cost of living is higher now under a Democrat president than a Republican president, and I got escorted out of here. I have a question for the same reason, not germane to the city. Question to you. How does anything talked about tonight with ceasefires, anything in Israel, anything with Gaza have anything to do with your guys' business?
Crickets.
That sounds like viewpoint discrimination and unequal.
Excuse me.
I
Please
sat
be
here and
quiet in the
listened to
audience.
people speak, and I didn't interrupt. That sounds like unequal protection. So can I talk about masks tonight? So the study that I was going to talk about back in on July 18th had to do with the fact that these masks were.
It's almost like you're kind of shell shocked. You're expecting them to interrupt you and talk over you and not let you speak.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. Every time I go in there, they do it. They do it.
Yes, they do.
We're starting to be found out that they had a You're not going to stop me? Why aren't you stopping me? It's the same topic. You're going to escort me out of here now? What's changed? What's changed? Is it germane all of a sudden? And talk about how the cost of living is higher right now with Biden as president than when Trump was president. And Courtney stopped me and said, "What does the city have to do with the NASDAQ?" Well, what does the city? Yeah, it's on video. What city have to do with a ceasefire? What can you do? How is it germane? What can you do? What policy are you going to put in place that's going to have anything to do with that? Why should our tax dollars go to that?
Wow.
And
That,
yeah,
they just
and,
have nothing to say. Crickets,
right,
crickets,
and
crickets.
so there's background on that. You mind if I give some background on that as
Yep,
well?
go
All
for
right.
it.
So what I'm talking about specifically, and there are two incidents that happened that are part of a lawsuit that I filed against the city of Lawrence, the commission as a whole, two of its mayors, so individually two of its mayors at the time, for silencing my free speech at their meetings and having me removed by the police under threat of arrest two different times. And so when I went in there and spoke, that was in that video there, that was in November of 2023, this past November. And so it was just a couple of days before I ended up filing the lawsuit. But what the one of the things in the lawsuit and one of the things that the city did is they enacted back in October of 2022 this germane to the business of the city policy. And so prior to that, that language didn't exist. So I think they put it in like October 8th of 2022, something like that. And and basically is they're saying that when you speak during general public comment, what you speak about has to relate to the business of the city. And so the very next meeting, I go up there and I speak, and I'm mentioning things about, like I say in that video there, I'm mentioning things of the difference between when the last day Trump was in office and then at that point in time when Biden was in office. And some of the things that I mentioned were inflation and rent. And the mayor, who was Courtney Shipley at that time, stopped me and he almost comically says, "Well, what does the city have? You're not talking about anything germane. What does the city have to do with rent and inflation?" I mean, I mean, I mean, and threw me out of the meeting because it wasn't germane. And so, over the course of their meetings, they show their inconsistencies, where of course people can talk about those things in general public comment as city commission because that relates to the city's business. And so people have. And so there's all these inconsistencies over time since that time that they allow people to talk about exactly what they threw me out for: rent and inflation. And then fast forward to July 18th of 2023, I go in there and I speak, and I want to speak about the masks, the effects of the masks. The city itself had also put in mask policies as well during COVID.
Yeah, that was the
And
child abuse speech that you gave, right? I couldn't find that one.
um, they stopped me. I didn't even get to it, and they didn't even get to it. And what they contend is that when I introduced myself, I always introduced myself, and I at the time as obviously like you said earlier, Dr. Justin Spees, and I started a mass protest against the USD 497 school district back in July 2021. And they stopped me right then and there and said, "Well, how's that germane? We don't have any control over the school district." So me even just mentioning the phrase USD 497 was enough for them to say that's not germane. And they stopped me and they gave me a warning. And so I started to read. I was going to read a research article to show the emotional damage that masks had caused for mask wearers. And as I start to read that, the mayor stops me. It's a different mayor. Her name's Lisa Larson. She stops me and says, "Well, that's not germane to our business either. What does that got to do with our business?" I'm like, "Well, you guys had a mask policy in place. What are you talking about? How is this not germane? Did you not just live through COVID as well? I mean, is the upside down world? Are you being serious right now?" And she was, and she had me removed under threat of arrest by a police officer as well. And so at that meeting you just showed there, that's me going in there and calling them out and being like, "Well, why? How does a ceasefire over there? How's that germane to your guys' business? If I can't talk about
That's
rent."
what they were talking about that night, was the Hamas thing and the Israel
Yep.
thing.
Yep. They were all there. They wanted the city to do a proclamation for a ceasefire. And so they all went up there and spoke. And in fact, Lisa Larson, tells them that it's not germane, and they bully their way into it. They're like, "No, no, this is germane. Do you not support genociding over there?" And so they bullied their way into it. And the commission allowed themselves to be bullied, and they were able to speak on that. And so I go up there, I'm like, "What the fuck?" Basically, how is that ceasefire germane? But I can't talk about a mask policy you guys had during COVID, and I can't talk about rent and inflation and the USD 497 school district. And
Things
again,
that are actually affecting the citizenry there in that county.
right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so then again, over time, there's more inconsistencies where it's all recorded, and I've seen it all of them allowing mention USD 497, but talk about business of the school district. A school district board member went in there and introduced herself as a school district member and said, but I'm not here in that capacity. I mean, they allowed these things. They allowed me to go back in there and talk about COVID. They allowed me to go back in there and read mask research stuff after having me removed for it before.
Mhm.
They allowed people
So
to
it's
go
just
in there.
because you put in the lawsuit. It was just after you filed the lawsuit that they allowed you to speak about these things.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
They're afraid. They're scared.
Well,
They're
but
cowards.
one would think, but they haven't stopped. I mean, I've got, just in the recent past three meetings, they've moved to have me stopped because I was talking about the lawsuit, and they said that's not germane. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? How is that not germane? And then they say I'm disrupting, and they were going to have me removed by the police again.
Yeah,
And I'm just like, if talking about the lawsuit that I filed against them for violating rights, that they violated rights in those meetings, along with the inconsistencies that I was pointing out that they engage in their own meetings, and they're spending taxpayer money on their attorneys to defend this lawsuit. How is that not germane to their business? It does not get any more germane than that. And I'm not joking. They stopped me from speaking and said that's not germane, and then ordered the police to have me removed. Then changed their mind both times and said, no, we're actually not going to have him removed. If that doesn't chill speech and leave just not even me wondering what you could talk about, it has to leave everyone wondering what you can talk about and can't talk
yeah,
about. I mean, seriously.
yeah. And the problem is that a lot of people don't really understand the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, that we have freedom of speech in this country. They are so indoctrinated from public schools that they think, don't question authority. If authority is telling you you can't do something, well, you just can't do it. And,
Right.
and, and they just lap it up. It's like,
Well, one of the, I think, most sinister things about free speech violations is that not only does it rob the free speech of the speaker, which is me in my case, but it robs the free speech of every hearer out there, because now you guys don't get to listen to the free speech of someone else because the government is preventing that free speech from reaching your ears. And in the
yep,
process of that reaching your ears, it might make you go, and it might make you think differently. It might change your mind. It might generate more
yep,
ideas, so that
yep,
everyone is being robbed of their First Amendment rights when we see our fellow citizens' rights being robbed, because we are being stripped of our right to hear other people's thoughts and ideas. This is America, and we
yep,
should all be completely find that completely unacceptable that we are being robbed of potential knowledge because some government official just doesn't like it or doesn't like the person or whatever their reason is.
absolutely. Jethro Miller, I love how over and over again he uses their own words against them.
Yeah.
Us. It's us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's called inconsistencies and double standards, and it's really easy to point to that. That's what
yep,
part of the unequal protection under the law is. If you're going to allow somebody to talk about the school district and not allow me to talk about it, that's not equal. That's called unequal. And
yep.
we all, under the Constitution, under the 14th Amendment, we have equal
Yep.
protection under the law. We enjoy
That's
that
right.
protection. If they're going to allow people to speak on a topic, then they have to allow other people. And if they're going to restrict someone on their speech, then they have to restrict everyone else. So those
Yep.
people have the luxury of being able to talk about topics that I was not. I was excluded from their fucking conversation, plain and simple.
Yep.
And it's easy to
And
point out. It's easy to point out.
yeah, it is very easy. So this next video, we're getting back to the reason why nobody ever prosecuted that guy that tried to steal your signs, and this guy is the reason here.
Hello, sir. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
What can we do for you today?
I was trying to set up an appointment to speak to the DA, please.
All right. What's that regarding?
I just had some questions for her.
Do you hear how phony this guy is right here? All right, what's that regarding? And he's showing his phone that he's recording to.
Yeah,
It's
he's big time phony. He's big time condescending. So this is the deputy district attorney there in Douglas County. So he's the second in command of the district attorney's office. The only person ahead of him is his boss, the elected official, the district attorney herself. Her name is Suzanne Valdez. And so the way Josh is here is who he is as a person. He is who he is as a lawyer. I know that that's how he has treated a family of a Their daughter, their 10-year-old daughter, was a rape victim, and Josh Seiden treated them exactly and worse than what you see right here. This is who he is. He is a piece of shit.
I agree, just by the interaction that I saw when I first watched these videos. Here we go.
Mhm.
Okay, well, you can go ahead and send this to us via email, and we will take a look at them, and we will get back to you in a timely manner.
So she doesn't meet in person?
Well, what's the meeting about that you're requesting?
Oh, just some questions about her job performance.
Okay, well, like I said, you're free to contact us via email, and we can go ahead and get back to you that way.
So she doesn't meet in person then?
Well, let's see what questions you have, and let's see if that's something we need to meet about in person, and you can go ahead and send those to us.
So you'll screen the meeting based on those questions?
No, maybe something that we can address via email. We respond
I'd rather
promptly.
do it in person.
Well, you can go ahead and contact us via email then.
What's the difference between contacting you here right now and via email?
Oh, contacting us via email is one thing, and coming here in person is another thing.
Yeah, I just wanted to set up an appointment to speak to her.
Why is he just stating the obvious? I mean, it's like,
I know you can't lose that argument when you with that kind of logic.
exactly.
Okay, well, we're not going to do that today.
How come?
Well, because you can contact us via email, and we'll see what questions you have and if we can address those.
Well, I just want to set up an appointment.
Okay, we're not going to do that today, but you're welcome to contact us via email with your
I
questions.
don't understand.
Well, I will say it again. You can contact us via email with your questions.
Can I
And
set up an appointment with you there, Josh?
no, Mr. Spees, not today.
How come?
Well, we're sitting here talking right now.
Are you afraid to speak with me or something?
Did anybody have that lost on him? No, Mr. Spees. He's talking down to
Right.
you.
Yeah. So either to call me by my title, and it's the furthest they'll go is Mr. Speece, but even in doing that is their version of a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, well, it's backhanded, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very yeah, it's disparaging. That's what it is.
Something I want to point out here, and you guys had mentioned earlier about the importance of knowing your rights, and that's absolutely right. So, as you can tell here, he's recording me, and my video is him on the right, and his is me on the left there. And so I knew once he came out recording me that I now had additional business. I was going to be Cora requesting in Kansas. It's the Kansas Open Records Act, but it's FOIA. But each state probably different names, but I knew I was going to be recording that, and so and I did, or I was going to be requesting that, and I did. I requested his footage. Now, he and in that office sat on those requests up until whenever I published this back in June, and the reason why I got until they released it to me in June, and the reason why they released it to me is because he ended up dressing up as me in the office there, and it was caught on security camera. So he had a dreadlock wig and a hat and a shirt and a jeans and walked with his phone.
I
Took a picture.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, took a picture with the sheriff's deputy, and it blew up. It was a huge story. It was
Oh
front
yeah,
page news.
you
It
still
was
have
front
that
page news.
published too.
Yep, front page news. And so that was on a Friday, and then the following Monday, that very next Monday, he got fired, and then like the very next day, I got all my core requests, and I got that footage, and so I put together this video here, and it shows me and him our dueling cameras right there of our perspectives.
So this idiot lost in the end.
He
I
did
understand they
well.
were trying to give him a job somewhere else.
Well, yeah, and that's this is an ongoing saga, but yeah, the city commission then tried to put him on the community police review board, which would be handling bias complaints against the police department, and so me and Lawrence Accountability, who is Michael at Lawrence Accountability there in Lawrence,
He's in the chat.
He's in chat. All right, right on. There he is. And yep, he tried to get on our police board and was nominated by one of the city commissioners. Her name's Amber Sellers. And we raised the stink, and some other people in the community did as well. And we raised the stink not only for this here clear bias, but also I mentioned earlier that family of the little 10-year-old girl who was raped and how Josh Seiden handled that prosecution there. uh, pointing out these clear, obvious red flags that should prevent him from even getting a whiff at that community police review board. But he sure as shit was nominated. He didn't get voted in, but he was nominated, and so like I said, he didn't get voted in. So that was done and over with. But just the sheer incompetence and just stupidity of that commissioner to nominate somebody like that and not have an issue with it, not even recognize the issue of bias at all. It's unbelievable, really.
Yeah. So I think we've seen enough of round one. You can just tell the guy comes out with his phone. He's trying to get you out of the office. He wants you to just send emails.
Yep.
And,
That was the
and he's
last day
just
of Jan-
talking down to you the whole works.
Yep,
Um,
that was the last day of January. Now, what ends up happening at the end of this video, I encourage the audience to go check it out, is he gets court security in there, and they're getting ready to remove me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And court security is the Douglas County Sheriff's Department. And I'm like, what the fuck are
yeah,
you talking about? I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not doing anything unlawful. You have no reason to tell me to leave. This is a public building. I'm doing something public. What the fuck are you talking about? And so that
yeah,
was the last day of January, and then 2 days later I come back. It was the second to last day of January, and then 2 days later I come back on February 1st, and that's the round two video. The motherfucker comes back out recording again, and the
yep,
same thing ends up happening. He gets court security involved, and they're going to issue a fuck. They go back, and the deputies talking with Sidon. They're going to issue a trespass to arrest me and get me out of there. And again, I have done nothing unlawful whatsoever has happened, and they were going to unlawfully trespass me to get me out of there.
yep. And this time, I think we want to watch a little more of this one because here he comes. See, he's already he got his phone ready. Uh, and
Yep.
how can I help you? The same standard thing was like, why are you in our office? Get the fuck out.
Yep.
That's what they
Well,
mean when they say,
he
how can
what
I help you?
when I go in there, I request the two Cora or a Cora request form and a couple of complaint forms to the secretary who's behind that window right there. And so she apparently had reached back out to Josh and said, Justin's here again with his phone. He's requesting these. So Sidon is now coming out for the first time there, and he's got the Cora requests. But then he's going to tell me they don't have complaint forms there. Is basically how this interaction starts.
Okay. Motherfucker comes out recording again. I'm screen grabbing that shit, Doc. Okay, I like the way that he tries to type. We can
Yeah.
just say it. We're not
Yeah.
monetized, so
Yeah.
probably not much chance of that anyway. Here we go.
Hello, Mr. Spees.
Am I buffering?
No, Cliff's video is.
Oh, okay, okay. I wasn't sure. I have a tendency to have disconnections here. But yeah, like I said, he's coming out with with the core request form, and it's basically trying to usher me out of there as quickly as possible. But while recording me, and so I tell him right away, I'm like, hey, if you're going to keep recording me, I'm going to keep requesting your video. So you recording me right now, I'm going to need to file another core request. And then if you go get that and make a copy and you come back out here recording me, I'm going to request that recording as well. And we can do this all damn day. And I fully intended on it. He eventually puts his phone away. Yeah.
Yeah, Cliff, I think you're gonna have to. Your internet must be mixed up.
Well, while that's buffering, can you hear me then?
I can hear you, Justin. I
Okay.
can hear you.
Yeah. So while that's yeah, he gets his nickname Shaky Hands too over the whole phone thing as well. Yeah, I'll get to that here in a minute. Um, well, shoot, I just forgot what I was going to say about this interaction here. But so what Michael's referencing there is that once Sidon puts his phone away after coming out there a couple of different times, he puts his phone away, and I ask him like, "You said you record everyone that is recording you, and I'm recording you still. So why aren't you recording right now?" And he's like, "Why am I not recording?" I'm like, "Yeah, I asked you." He's like, "Well, do you really want to know?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, that's why I'm asking." He's like, "Oh, honestly." I had too much coffee this morning, and my hands are starting to shake, and it wouldn't be very good footage. I'm like, okay, Josh, and so now I started calling him Josh Shaky Hand Sidon. I mean, come on, talk about someone that's not able to think quickly on their feet. I mean, to say that, I mean. You could easily
Yeah.
say the phone battery died, but whatever, whatever. So he's just not very bright, and so he's got his nickname Josh Shaky Hand Sidon. I don't know.
Cliff,
Is
you're
it
going to probably have to drop out and rejoin. I think your internet is not good right now.
okay? I remember what I was going to say. And so in this video here in a little bit, like I mentioned just a little while ago, that one of the sheriff's deputies, his name's Sergeant Dale Flory, he calls Sidon back there. And again, I haven't got this video footage until just this past June. So this whole time, I really thought what was happening is that Flory was pulling him aside and being like, "Look, Josh, he's not doing anything. Let's just wrap this up." I really thought that's what was going on. I get the body cam footage, and nothing could be further from the truth. The complete opposite of that happens. Flory takes him back there and says, "We can issue him a trespass warning." And so that would have been unlawful because first of all, I wasn't doing anything that they could legally ask me to leave because it was a public building. You know, talk about knowing your rights. It's a public building. I was doing something, a public official duty of filing these requests, but also initially asking to speak to the DA. But also throughout my business there, it shifted to recording what they were doing in there, like documenting what they're doing. It was that egregious. And so they were trying to say that they could trespass me, but if you're not doing anything wrong to be trespassed, they can't trespass you. So that would have been an unlawful arrest. And just think about that. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if at the end of the day my name gets cleared on that. My name would never be cleared on that. It'd be the town crazy guy is down there again, causing trouble, of course, and we had to arrest that crazy guy. Look at him. Look at him always causing trouble. And so then that would have been reputation. That would have been, money for an attorney, time for an attorney, all of that stuff, and over nothing. And then they ended up unlawfully arresting me just a couple months later on May 1st. Same exact thing. Not doing anything unlawful to deserve to be arrested. And sure as shit, they arrested me. And it's the same thing. Bail myself out of fucking jail. Reputational damage. There's people that are reporting on it. The LJ World reports on it. Newspaper in Kansas City papers have reported on it. All of that shit, and none of it is accurate. None of it really even paints the picture of what exactly was happening in there that led up to that arrest. And it would have been the same thing that they were going to do to me there as well. And it's completely and entirely unacceptable, and it's completely entirely fucked up that they do that shit.
Yeah. And the media is on their side too. They slant
Absolutely.
everything. So,
Absolutely. It's they're their mouthpiece.
yep, they are, and I think they're controlled by our government too. To be honest with you, I just have a feeling that they're
They
completely
are, they
controlled.
are, and that it's also an access thing. They have access to the government. They get to sit at the meetings on their in their reserved spot, and they get access to these commissioners. So if they try to do anything that makes those commissioners look bad, the cowardly
Yeah,
journalists there are afraid they're going to lose their precious
yeah.
access to these
Toe the
people.
line
But
or else.
to the line or else. But meanwhile, me and Michael are documenting all this and releasing it as as reporting on what's going on down there and showing what is
Yeah,
actually happening there, and people are
the
watching it.
real news.
The
The
real
real
news.
news.
The real news. You don't need to have access to these government officials to present the news. In fact, what you're going to get is a spin and propaganda. You need to be
Right.
on the outside looking in. That's how you get the full picture, because that's called bias. It's called
Yeah.
influencing the story dramatically. It's
Yeah.
propaganda.
Yeah. Well, and I contend that we do have our own little biases too, but not like they do. And that camera is an objective witness. It's not subjective. So, and whatever happens on camera while you're with them, most guys don't edit up their videos too much either, because people will question it if they did. But they
Well,
never, when it comes to the mainstream media, they never question the editing ever.
and this isn't a this is the stuff that me and Michael Lawrence Accountability are showing there is there's no question there, it can't be called into question the editing, because
Right?
this is all
It's
on the
happening.
government. The government records the city meetings, record themselves. So you just have to go
Yeah.
back. You just have to go back to
Yep.
the meetings, and you can. It's called proof. It's called a fact. It's called evidence. You can point out, like I just talked about there. They allow people to talk about things that they don't allow me to talk about. That there's video evidence that it's
Yep.
indisputable. You can look
Yep.
at it. And these
Yep.
reporters will not report on the fact that the government is doing inconsistencies at their town meeting. They
They
just will
put the
not cover it.
government slant on it. They put that government slant on it, and you're just a kook.
Right, and,
Yep.
and that's called news. Local government restricting citizens' rights. That's called news. Regardless of whose rights they're restricting, I get it. They don't fucking like me, but that's called news, and they are.
Yep.
It's journalism malpractice. They refuse to report on it. That is evidence. That is what is going
Yep.
on at their meetings, and it's not coming from my footage. It's coming from the city's own footage of themselves recording themselves
Right.
doing these things.
And the news just putting their own slant and biases on it, and just narrative. They're putting out their narrative, the government's narrative. They're
Exactly.
just
Exactly. It's
there's
propaganda. It's political
Yep.
propaganda. Yep.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yep.
And we've got a lot of political prisoners right now too. So
Yep.
it's all happening. So let's play this. Maybe we should just go right up to the point where, here we go. Let's just go right here when he tries to call security and get you hauled out of there.
Okay. Yeah. Good idea. Yeah, while you're pulling that up, so like I mentioned, he's already come out a couple of times recording, and he's finally stopped recording. And so right now it's my footage and the body cam footage. I got all the body cam footage from the deputies there. So in my video, I've compiled all the different angles, my angle, Siden's angle, and the body cam, all there, so you can see it from all the cameras that are recording. It's pretty
Right.
badass. It's pretty
It
badass.
is.
And so what we see then is the body cam footage of these deputies, and one of the most striking things that it won't. I don't think it's in this one. It's in the other video. But the first time they arrive on scene, Siden is in the back of the office, and so the deputy walks through the lobby where I'm sitting, goes into the back room, and you can see on his body cam, you see Siden. He's like, Josh. He's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
he's hand signaling,
Letting them
covering.
know right away I'm on my body cam's on. So
Yep,
don't say anything stupid.
Don't say anything stupid. Don't say anything illegal. Because
Yeah.
we all know what's going on.
That's what they do. Yeah.
It's shady. It's shady. It's showing
Very
guilt. It's
shady.
showing the potential for their guilt. And so it's just an example of that. But the body camera footage is pretty cool looking.
All right, let's continue.
Hey, Cliff, you got to share so we can all see it.
Oh, I'm not sharing. Oh my
Oh
Lord.
shit! I thought you were still pulling it up, man. That's why I was talking. I was trying to fill. I was trying to fill the time. I didn't realize you were playing.
No, I get this way sometimes. It's like don't remember that I need to share it.
I hear you.
All right. So, focus. Okay, here we go.
Oh, I bet I can. Haven't we been over this?
This lobby is not.
Yeah, this is exactly what you were describing. There's 3 cameras basically.
Yep.
His
two
body
deputies
cam
and-
showing this. His body cam is probably showing this, right?
The 2 body cams are on the right, and mine is on the left.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Your office.
No, it's not. It's public use. I'm public, and I'm doing a public thing here by submitting a core request because you're recording me with your phone. And
We have intended purposes. I've taken a lot of time with you, and
you don't have to be out here while I'm doing this. You've chosen to sit out here. You don't have to be out here. I'll just fill this out, submit it, and be on my way. That's it. You know that.
go ahead and fill it out then.
Yeah, I'm going
gonna
to. I'm going to, Josh.
Hopefully take it back.
I'm going to. You do not have to wait out here. And I'd like to know why the court security is here again. Have I done something wrong again? But why are you here?
This is the building that we work in
Okay, and why are you here?
because this is where I work.
And what purpose do you have here specifically right now?
I'm here because of you,
For what?
because you were here. He's already asked you to leave once. Now he's gonna let you fill that out here.
He's not
And I'm
letting
gonna
me.
keep the-
He's
I'm
not
gonna stay
letting me.
and
I
keep
have
the
a
peace.
right. I have a
Okay.
right.
Fair
Keep
enough.
the peace. What are you talking about? Keep the peace. Nothing's
I'm
been
gonna keep the
unpeaceful.
peace. Okay.
Nothing's been unpeaceful.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah, man, it is, isn't it? Considering that old Josh there has been doing nothing but escalating it. Why are you recording me right now, Josh?
Am I not recording you?
Yeah, you said anytime somebody records me, I'm gonna record them. Remember you said that? Why aren't you recording me right now?
Well,
I'm recording you.
In all honesty, do you really want to know, Mr. Speeds?
I do, that's why I'm asking.
Because I drank a lot of coffee this morning and my hand was starting to shake, so the footage was not going to be great.
Oh, I'm sure.
So this is just in
Fucking lame, man. Fucking lame. Yeah.
Well, that's the reason I don't even audit, because that's all I do is shake. So I got severe tremors. I can't even type.
He emasculates himself right there in public in front of other
Yep.
guys. He just emasculated himself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he doesn't even have a condition. It's I drank too much coffee. Sorry.
Yeah. My hand's shaking. Well, it's like, no, your hand was shaking. Yeah, your hand was shaking not because of coffee, but because you were fucking nervous. You were
He's
fucking
nervous. He's scared. Yep. He's
And
scared of
not
you.
because I'm a threat, but because he was fucking going round and round and getting schooled. And
Yeah.
he's supposed to be some high ranking attorney, and he can't even fucking argue.
You can see right through him. He's not a smart man at all.
No.
I mean, common sense. I mean, even me, not much of an education, I can figure this guy out pretty simple.
Well,
Pretty
and
easy.
you know, when you get on the map in these situations, when you have your rights on your side, we've said, like we said before, and it's important to stress knowing your rights. And the thing about our rights is that they're straightforwardly written. They're straightforwardly written. When they were written down for us, they're there, and you can know your rights. You can know that Josh and these officers are in the wrong because, as long as I'm not going in there and like tipping over fucking chairs and shit like that, you can go into a place. I'm saying there are things you can do that will get you removed from there lawfully. You can't go in there and tip chair and shit like that. But if you're just going in there, conducting your business, being quiet, filling out paperwork, they're harassing you as well. If you're just doing that, then they can't legally ask you to stop doing what you're doing. And so that's precisely what happened in these two interactions. And so I had the rights on my side, and that feels good, and that feels really good as an American to know you have your rights on your side like that, and what they're doing is wrong. Otherwise, they would have just fucking arrested me and moved me out of there.
Yep. But they knew you knew your rights too, so they knew what you would do if they tried to violate your rights. That's when
they're beginning to understand.
They have pause. That's when they have pause.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, I think Wanda Mize figured out what he suffers from.
Non-transparency-itis.
Yep.
I like that. Is that a real word?
I don't know, but it causes hair loss, shakes, and loss of rational conversation. He must be terminal.
And in addition to that, he's also got a healthy dose of disgust and hatred towards me, and viewing me as someone not deserving of the rights that are afforded to other people as well. And so he has a lot of contempt and hatred towards me specifically.
And I would hazard to guess he has a lot of hate and to the peons out there.
I've mentioned that case with the little girl who was raped, and one of the things that he did is that he wasn't keeping this family in the loop, and the family would kept reaching out to the DA's office to him and being like, look, what's going on here. And Josh would said that if they reached out to them again, that he was going to charge them with harassing him. And because of that, then he went and filed a guardian ad litem to have the courts remove that little girl from her family over this. When you talk about just sick,
that's disgusting,
and sadistic, and just thinking that you know so much more than the little girl's family who's been raped, the last thing in the world. And she wasn't raped by a family member. She was raped by someone that was staying the night there, a boy that was staying the night there, a friend of a sibling. And so there was no reason whatsoever to remove that child, to want to remove that child. There was no benefit that child would have got. In fact, it would have been disastrous.
Damaging.
Yes, it would have been damaging.
Very damaging.
That fucking asshole took it upon himself to say, you're fucking harassing me, and so I'm going to have your child custody rights revoked. What a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just better than us. They're all these government employees. I mean, we can't say all, but good portion of them, especially assistant district attorney. He's somebody, and you're just nobody. We're all just nobodies to these
They're so
people.
much they're so much smarter than us. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
In all candor, I mean, you asked me, I'm just giving you my honest answer.
Okay.
And so the deputy pulling him back to the back room happens a little bit further on there. There's kind of some dead zones in here where I'm just filling out my form and
Okay.
some little conversation here and there. But you'll see the deputy, the camera angle will change when he pulls him aside to the back there, because you'll see him walk back there. Matter of fact, I think I press stop recording on mine, so my screen will go blank as well.
But in the meantime, they're basically just standing out there intimidating you, trying to
Exactly.
anyway.
Exactly.
But
That's exactly
you're
what.
you're you're not easily intimidated though.
Well, exactly, and especially like I just said, if you have your rights on your side, I'm not doing anything wrong, so there's no reason for me to bend to their unlawful, unconstitutional requests to have me leave their office. There's no reason for me to be like, okay, I'm out of here. And that's what I hope that people, as they watch this and come across this, that they start to recognize that, because our ignorance is what allows them to get away with controlling us. So like
Yep.
if you're at a meeting speaking and you don't know your rights and they tell you can't speak on that, you're likely to say,
Or you
okay.
have to give your name because you don't
Yeah.
even have to give your name. You know.
Right. But once
Uh,
you start knowing your rights, you can advocate for yourself and be like, no, I'm an American and I don't have to stop talking about this. What are you talking about? That kind of stuff.
yep.
So our
Yep.
rights give us that. Our rights give us that. And our rights are God given. They come from God. That's what God wants us to do. He wants us to use our rights, and he wants us to defend our rights. And what I mean by defend our rights is use our rights. You defend our own rights by using our rights.
Yeah. And I've heard this. I think when I first started watching First Amendment auditing, I'm against the press. Rights are like muscles. If you don't use them, you lose them.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly right. That's exactly right. And as you use them, your muscles build up. You,
Exactly. And you learn
yeah,
more,
you learn
and
more.
and
Precisely.
then you flex
Precisely.
more because you built that confidence.
Right,
So
exactly. Well, and Brandon, he makes a good point there. He says, imagine how they treat people who don't know their rights. And so you look at Josh there. That's exactly what he was doing from the very get go. He was saying, "Oh, can you just email us?" Well, what if a 9-year-old little old lady goes in there and doesn't do the internet, or somebody that just totally rejects society and says, "I don't do email"? What, are they shit out of luck? No, we can come in here and ask you to your face. What are you talking about? We don't have to fucking email.
well, yeah, okay. Just email us though. Just email.
Right,
They
just
don't
email.
listen either.
No,
It's just-
exactly. It would go into a black hole. It would go into a black hole, and they wouldn't respond.
yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, and I've run into that. I send out a lot of emails to these government entities, and
Oh, no
you
doubt.
rarely get a response.
No,
Rarely.
no
Then you
doubt.
have to continue and continue and continue, and then you call and you get rerouted to the. Oh, yeah, we don't handle that. Here's a number, or hold please, and you're on hold for 30 minutes, and I mean it's just a runaround.
It is.
It's
It
our
is. And it is. And I always hesitate to say like it's a losing battle or anything like that, because I don't believe that. I believe that we do need to be submitting things online, that we can do requests and we can send emails and we can make phone calls. Absolutely, 100%. We should be doing that.
Yep.
But I
Yep.
think oftentimes people use that as a crutch. That's been my experience, and I'm not saying that about you, Cliff. I'm saying just in general. It jogged a thought of mine, but that had been my experience since I started protesting. It's been my experience since I've gone to these meetings. It's been my experience interacting with these people. Um, is that oftentimes people will say, "Oh, I'm doing stuff behind the scenes. My work is behind the scenes," and like I said, I think that's needs to be done. But we also need to do more. We also need to show up. That's always been my message. We have to show up
In person.
in person, yep, in their office, at their
Yep.
meetings, to their face, using our
Yep.
voices only, using our voices. Um, and that can be, maybe that's the only thing you do, and that's what needs to be done. But if you're also sending emails, also go out and speak as well. We all have to be showing up. And because precisely what you're talking about there, those things, emails are black holes. They, if they even open them, If they even open them, they certainly don't listen to a lot of them. And again, I'm not trying to be a defeatist. I'm saying keep the pressure on any way possible with emails and phone calls. Yes, absolutely. But in addition to that, we got to do a little bit more as well.
Yeah.
Because they own that realm. They want us to be online. They want us to be in that electronic world only. They
Yeah,
want
they
us.
want to put us through that circle.
Yep,
You want-
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Hmm.
All right, let's continue. This is where they go inside, right?
It's gonna be a little bit further because he goes and makes a copy and then comes back out. You'll see it. It's towards
Okay.
just the tail end. And matter of fact, I'll just let you know where to stop there because there I'm filming in the office there and doing. I got to do another core request and they were getting close to it. So I'm like I got to do another core request and I sit down to do the core request and that's where the Sergeant Flory pulls him aside. It's gonna be here pretty soon here. Let's see. Okay, there we go. I think that's it. Oh,
Okay.
I believe that's it. That's done and over with. You got to go back a little bit. You got to go back maybe a minute, or so from there.
Okay. Let's go. Yeah, because he's talking to somebody in there. There we go. Let's
Okay.
just start it right.
Right there. Nope, right there. Okay, a little bit further back. A little bit further back.
Do that.
That's
I'll give him this last quarter.
that's
Little bit
they're having
further.
a conversation down there in the bottom corner. That's the conversation they're having. Okay, here they go. That's it, right there. There. Sergeant Flory and Seidner are going back there right now.
Issuing a trespass warning. When he has to leave, if he doesn't leave, he's under arrest. Are you wanting to do that?
I'll give him this last core request, and then I think at that point it's then after he does this one, I think that's the route we got to go.
Okay.
Because we've just been very fortunate that the last 2 days that he's been here, we haven't had any victims or anybody like that come through. But once he was starting to get up with the camera around here, we've got like documents and stuff.
Victims.
Yeah, he's playing victim and he's doing like a shotgun excuse thing. He's saying, "Oh, we just been fortunate that this crazy guy just hasn't lost his cool out there. We've been fortunate that there haven't been victims in the office. We got stuff up here that's private and confidential. You can't be recording." Well, first of all, none of that
Don't
even
have that stuff out for the public to see
yeah,
anyway.
that's not up to me or you or anybody else to safeguard that. That's up to you guys and your employees only. If you don't want it seen, don't leave it out. I was in the
Yep.
Navy for 9 years. I was on a submarine. I was a radioman. I handled top secret classified information all the time. There is no way I could be like, oh, you can't record that. No, it's my responsibility to make sure you guys don't see something that you don't want fucking seen. And so
Right.
he's using every excuse in the book, but none of them are valid. None of them stick. And it's just him playing the victim. Oh, Justin's here. And he's just so bad, right? Let's get him out of here. He's a bad guy. Regardless of what I was actually doing there, it was we need to get him out of there. And there you got the fucking deputy who I'm assuming, as I sit out there, like I said just a little while ago, I'm assuming he's setting side and straight. But nope, stupid me.
Oh,
Should
yeah,
have known.
he'll do whatever they tell him to do. They're the
Yeah, and
bosses.
he's offering it up. He's offering it up
Yeah,
himself. But the
yeah,
guy's law enforcement. He knows no law is being broken, but he's going to offer it up anyways. It's
yeah. And
unbelievable.
he's certainly not going to honor his oath. Um,
No,
you know.
absolutely not.
I mean, he's just going to, if he goes on one of his tirades, you're going got like kids and stuff like that. Like,
Right.
Tirade.
Yeah, and that's that narrative of all these videos we've
Until
been
we get
watching.
to that point, he can still fill out his.
Yeah, because and that's why I asked you guys to come, is because like you guys are a very good DS.
And you already told him too how he could get you to leave. Don't sit out here and watch me fill out my forms. Let me fill them out and I'll submit them and I'll be gone. That's all you got to do, man. Leave me alone.
Repeatedly.
And he wouldn't do it. I know.
Yeah.
It's just he's so dense. He thinks he's got to be right out there in your face and intimidating you because he doesn't want you submitting this paperwork. Because he
Yep.
doesn't want to fulfill the requests. Period.
Well,
He just wants you out of there.
He doesn't like me. He's got disgust for me, and you can hear it coming out in him. That's
Oh
that
yeah.
narrative that those videos we showed prior to this of the attack
Yep.
and the narrative that
Yep.
was spun. That's coming out of him right there. Every excuse he's using,
Yep.
me having a tirade in there. First of all, what the fuck is he talking about? Talk about gaslighting. I've at no point in time had anything that would be called a tirade. And second of all, what exactly is a tirade? And third of all, in a public building, if you had a tirade, that's still not unlawful. You don't have to be just quiet while you're in the fucking building. You can have a tirade if you're upset about something. I don't see why
Yeah,
you.
you can
But that
definitely use your freedom of speech in public. I mean,
exactly. But even still, none of that even happened. What a he's just
yeah,
a
yeah,
gaslighter, man.
just a coward. That's what he
Yeah.
is.
Escalating presence and like, I'm sorry to waste your time, but it's like, I don't want to do anything that's gonna like set him off or cause him a problem or something like that. So,
And that's the road I think we would go if we issue the trespass warning. So if you're okay with him being here, filling out the request, making a copy, we will de-escalate as much as we can. And then generally, once he gets what he wants, he's able to leave, and there's no issue. I'm not saying it's going to go that way. But
yeah, no, I'll give him, I'll run it back. I'll give him the copy. But after this, it's just like, I mean, this really does conclude our business here today. Is he just needs to go at that point?
All powerful. That's going to conclude our business, and he gets to determine when business is concluded. That's ridiculous.
And just think there, the officer said that they're there to de-escalate, and just think about that. And in that video, both of those videos, the entire time, I'm sitting there as calm as can be. I'm relaxed. I'm filling out a form. My voice is just like it is right now, just like it is the entire time. The escalation has not happened whatsoever. In fact, Josh is the one that was escalating, but even then, it did not escalate me. And that officer is trying to say that they're there to de escalate, as if the issue is that I'm somehow getting out of control and the situation needs to be de escalated. It never crosses that officer's mind to say, Josh, why don't you just go back to your office? And then I think that the whole situation will be entirely de escalated. He'll fill his paperwork out and leave. It doesn't even cross his fucking mind. In
And
fact,
you've
he's
told him
doing.
that multiple times, and he's
Yeah,
just he get it.
and talk about gaslighting. I mean, to talk. I mean, the officer is saying that he's there to de-escalate, but that entire conversation started off with him saying he's going to do the most de-escalated thing possible to have me arrested. He's saying he's going to escalate it, but then gaslighting, saying they're there to de-escalate it. It's unbelievable.
Yep, and it's all he knows. His body cam's running, so they got to create that narrative that they're in the right and
That's true.
whatever they do.
Yep.
It's he's just going to keep doing it, and I would like to know because he doesn't have legitimate purpose for being here at this point. So.
Legitimate purpose.
That's fair.
Appreciate you.
Sure.
It's
legitimate purpose, and that's all fair. It's all fair. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like it's like that saying, like, that's rich. I mean, they say they conclude that by saying he doesn't have any legitimate purpose to be here. The deputy goes, "That's fair." They turn, they walk out this door right here. The camera picks up me sitting there filling out my paperwork, filming, and they've just concluded that I don't have legitimate business to be there. How? How? What is legitimate business if filling out a core request for that schmuck that was recording me that works in that office, and then I'm recording these guys in their official duties? What is the definition of legitimate business then?
Yep. Especially when you're acting as press right here. You're filming and you're going to disseminate whatever content comes out there to the public for informational purposes. So
and I refer to that as documenting. I'm documenting what he's doing, documenting it, and I'll release it out to the public. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. And so this is what happened. I'm fill that out. He goes, makes a copy, and we're done and over with, because he had stopped recording me at that point. So I wasn't going to fill out any more core requests. Now I could have stayed there and continued to film them. I could have done that, but my business wrapped
all the way up to closing if you wanted to.
Yep, exactly. But I determined my business had ended, and so I left. It as it should have gone.
Yep.
But that's pretty much that right there.
Perfect. All right, now we're going to get to some good stuff here. Well, it's all good stuff, but this is what people like to see. They like to see the excitement, the drama.
Well, it's almost unbelievable. If all this wasn't documented, and I was just telling these stories, you'd be like, "Oh, okay." And to have
sure that happened.
like to have the Josh Seiden video, one of those. But man, there's like weekly shit that these people do specifically to me, and they've been doing it over time. It's quite unbelievable.
Yep. All right, so set us up on this one. Attack seems sus from the jump. So,
So I think this is sometime in April or May of 2022, I believe, and this here is the county commission meeting, and so in April, so in March of 2022, like I mentioned, the mask mandate ended
Yep.
for COVID, and then that following month in April, I filed to run for Douglas County Commission, and I'm running against the where is he? I think he's up on that. We'll see the American flag, and you got the three people sitting there. He's on the far right of the three. His name's Patrick Kelly. I'm running against him. He's a Democrat. I filed as a Republican,
he's
and
a
I'm
big giant pussy.
yeah, he's a yeah, that's the guy right there. And I don't remember the exact date on this video because I'm coming across it right now. Uh, and but I think that it's in April or
Yeah, it
May.
was
But
a year. It was a year ago. Um, I
well,
wish they'd
I
give
know
us
it's
the
longer than
exact
that.
date.
No, I know it's longer than that. And maybe does it say it in the description when I publish it? But anyways, the I guess it doesn't matter because I didn't get my YouTube channel until later in that year. But anyways, I just go in there and I bring up that incident where the guy attacked me. We watched that police report of me getting attacked while I was protesting, and I believe this is that meeting. I didn't watch this beforehand, but I think it's me saying, did you guys have anything to do with that? I like tell them what happened, and it seems suspect that this guy hasn't been charged with anything. Do you guys have anything to do with that?
Yeah.
Justin, you can go ahead and come up and give your public comment.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
See that one person signed up. Justin, you can go ahead and come up and give.
So, did you sign your name as just Justin, or did you say Dr. Justin Spees?
I'll always when I sign in there, and I don't always sign in there, but when I do, it's always Dr. Justin Spees. I mean, that's my title. I mean, it's a
Yep.
PhD. It took me over a
You
decade
earned
to
it.
get it. Yeah, I earned it. Yeah, fuck yeah.
And so, obviously, boom, she just says Justin.
Yep. She always calls me
Your
Justin.
Yeah.
public comment.
How many times we got to go over this, Shannon? It's Dr. Justin Spees. I worked hard for that, so thank you. Dr. Justin Spees, I have a PhD in lifespan human development, a master's in marriage and family therapy, both from Kansas State, and I have a bachelor's in addiction counseling from Washburn. I taught as an assistant professor at Washburn in the Family and Human Services Department for 6 years. I was a licensed marriage and family therapist, a licensed master addiction counselor here in Kansas through the BSRB, and have worked as both in the past. I was a board member of the BSRB Addiction Counseling Subcommittee and served as a secretary for the SDA Care Center Board here in Lawrence, where prior to that I worked as a child therapist for children who had been sexually abused. I served in the United States Navy Submarine Service from 2000 to 2009 on the fast attack submarine USS Springfield out of Groton, Connecticut. When I got out of the Navy in 2009, I was a first-class petty officer. I'm now running for the Douglas County District 1 Commissioner seat, currently held by Patrick Kelly. So I've got a question for you three here this evening. Back in September, I was attacked, assaulted, battered, and stolen from while I was protesting child mask mandates outside of Sunset Hill Elementary here in town. I was standing on the corner minding my business when a car pulled up out of nowhere, parked illegally in the school zone crosswalk during school drop-off hours, hopped out his car, walked up to me and unprovoked took my signs out of my hand and attempted to swing the sign at me. The entire incident was caught on a neighbor's security camera across the street, and KCTV5 out of Kansas City ran a news report on it and everything. You can go check it out yourself. You know how many times since that day I was attacked that I've been contacted by police, detectives, a DA, anyone to follow up on that? Zero. No trial for the attacker. Hell, no charges have even been filed for all I know. So here's my question to you all up there tonight. Do you guys have something to do with that? It seems sketchy as fuck, man. Why haven't there been charges filed on a case caught on video with a witness and a victim statement, with a car, make and model description, with a visual of the guy, and even after police contacted him later that same day? If there's ever an open and shut case, this is it, right? You can see the attacker, you can see the make and model of the car, but nothing, huh? Meanwhile, 8 short weeks later, some guy lies about an incident that occurred at a Vax clinic in November, and I get arrested, spend the day in jail, get charged with 3 felonies. One has been dropped due to lack of evidence. So make sure you point that out there, LJ World. You guys are always so quick to point.
So, okay. So, everybody in the chat, do you think that these guys could potentially had something to do with him, with his attacker not being charged? Put a 1 in the chat if you think that is the case. Put a 2 if you don't. I'm going to continue playing, and we'll kind of look for the responses in here. No comment, says Lawrence Kent. But it's just people's opinion, right? If we think that they're behind it, then put a 1. If you don't think that they're behind it, put a 2.
Yeah.
These are just opinions.
Point that out. So explain that to me, please. How come nobody's contacted me? I was battered, had my property stolen from. No charges. Shannon, portfolio? You guys are big into names, right? You can't call me Dr. Justin Spees, and I'm expected to what? Follow you guys' rules, say your guys' names right? I want to know why no one has even asked me a question about what happened that incident. Why?
We don't respond to public.
You don't respond public, any email, you don't respond at all, man. You don't respond at all. Who will you respond to? Who will you respond to? We're about to find out, because you got some responding to do, man. You cannot be attacked in the street and have it caught like that and nothing
Your
happens.
time is up. Have a good evening.
Well, your time is up. Have a good evening. Like,
Yeah.
we're not really listening to you anyway.
Right.
Oh, man. Ooh. Man, that pisses me off.
Yeah, and so basically, you know, with
And to
these
this day,
meetings,
no answers from these guys on this at all,
no,
of any of those questions.
no, no, of course not. Not even a response. And
And did you notice we got a lot of ones?
oh no, I haven't seen. Are we getting a lot
Yeah.
of ones? Yeah, I know.
Oh, a lot of ones. They think that this government's behind the attacker not being charged. They just let
Yeah, it
things
seems
go, and they're behind you getting charged over BS.
right.
Yeah.
It seems so obviously suspect, obviously questionable. Like the question is just there because it looks shady. And also in particular, you know,
If it
with
walks
this
like a duck, it's a duck. It talks like a duck, it's a duck. Yeah.
exactly. And but so these meetings here, like I have my sign there and I got my jug of water. What I would do is, you know, I was a commission candidate, and so what I would do every day is I'd go stand on various street corners there in Lawrence with my campaign sign. I had various signs along the way. And Wednesday evenings is when these county commission meetings are right there in Lawrence. And so I'd stand on the corner outside the courthouse, busy, you know, it's a busy intersection there, and have my campaign sign there. And then I'd walk into the meetings, just, you know, right there with my sign and my water, and I'd speak, and I'd leave, and that's why, you know, so this must have been, this had to have been later, because what the I filed for county commissioner in April of 2022, like I mentioned. And then the very next county commission meeting after I had filed, so I filed on a Monday, and then that Wednesday I had there was a county commission meeting, and I went in there with my sign, and my sign was a campaign sign. And hopefully this can set up, if you have that arrest video, because this is what I'm leading to. Is I went in with the sign, and the signs had my campaign on it. It said, "Vote Dr. Justin Spees, Douglas County Commissioner, District 1. Fuck these child abusing motherfuckers." And I went in there and was immediately told by the sheriff, Jay Armbrister, that the sign's not allowed because of the language that's on it. And I'm like, well, fucking bullshit. And I sign up. I'm over there signing in. The meeting hasn't started. I sign in. He goes up and he talks to the commissioners. And at that point, then the audience starts. You know, they're starting to loudly say stuff towards me. That they're voicing displeasure at me being there. They don't like me being there. So it's more of the same. Like, shut up, sit down. No, nobody. You know, whatever it is. We don't like you. In some capacity, they're saying that. And so the sheriff wraps up talking to the commissioners. I go and I sit down. The sheriff walks to the back of the room. He sits down. The guy behind me is still talking. He's wearing a mask. He's wearing a mask. You know. And so I turn around to see who is talking to me. And that's when this video picks up of the arrest. The sheriff comes back from the back of the room up behind me and tells me to get out. And he pushes me like this. And I'm like, I'm turning around, he pushed me. I'm like, what do I got to get out for? And he's like, out, get out. I'm like, no, for what? And he's like, disorderly conduct. I'm like, what do you mean disorderly conduct? No. And so that's when another deputy comes, and then they both get me out. They take the sign from me. The sheriff angrily throws it across the room, hits the banister. It almost flips up and hits me in the face. They both, and then a third deputy comes up, and the three of them take me out, arrest me, and take me to jail, and I get charged with disorderly conduct. And I don't know if you have that video there, if you want to play that now or not, but that's what happened there. And the reason why I mentioned that, the reason why I mentioned that video we just mentioned there is that, again, the local reporters did not report on that. They reported on it, but not accurately. The article frames me as a frequent commenter or anti-mask protester. Both. The video is from Lawrence Times. They refer to me as anti-mask protester. The LJ World runs an article and refers to me as the same. But the reality of it is that I was the political opponent of the sitting Democrat commissioner who I'm just filed to run for, has now had me arrested at their city meeting. That is the headline right there, but instead it's not. It's framed as, again, either I deserved it or I had done something wrong, or look at this anti-mask protester. Not even that I'm a legitimate, serious county commissioner. I have filed. My name at that point is on the ballot. I filed. I paid everything, and they would not report me as a political candidate is arrested at that county commission meeting. It's unbelievable. It's more of the propaganda. It's telling a very slanted story and only telling half of the story, and so all of their readers are severely misinformed by those stories of what the reality of it is. I mean, you talk about misinformation, but probably disinformation, because they're intentionally not revealing facts of the story that could influence people's opinion of the government there or me as well. And instead they're slanting it to do the opposite, to affect my reputation, and to, again, feed everyone's delusion of being on side with the government, that the government is always right. Like, I automatically was guilty. I had to have done something wrong, of course, and so he needed to be removed. But the reality of it, it is not, and it was recorded as well. You can see you can see what happens.
So
Is this the one that Lawrence Accountability recorded?
No, no. This is
isn't it. Okay.
And this wouldn't even necessarily be on my page. I don't know. I have it on there in some capacity, but the footage comes from Lawrence Times, and Lawrence Times YouTube channel it has it. If you have YouTube, if you just put my name in there, Justin Spees, it'll probably be the first or second video that comes up there, and you can see me sitting there with a sign.
It's not this one either.
Nope. That's from my channel. But if you just searched YouTube, just search my name in the YouTube search function, Justin Spees, it should be, and you hit enter. I'll be able to, and then you hit. It should be one of the first videos.
Okay, and just Justin Spees.
Yeah, just search it, SPIEHS, and it should be one of the first or second videos that you see at the top of the the search results in YouTube. You should see the video thumbnail.
And I keep okay, it's SPEI.
No. It's SPIE. Yeah.
And then SC.
No, no. It's I'll spell it for you. I'll do
It's
it.
in private chat, Cliff.
But I'll just spell for you. Sometimes the letters are hard to hear, but it's Sierra, Papa, India, Echo, Hotel, Sierra.
There we go. And I keep forgetting how to spell it, and I've learned the spelling numerous times, but it's just like such a different name.
Yeah, it is. It's not as common as like Williams. So yeah.
So the Lawrence Times.
Yeah, the Lawrence Times one should be that arrest.
Okay. And the video should be in here.
Yeah, like once you type Justin Spees in and hit search, it really should just be like the, one of the top videos there, and it's from the Lawrence Times. It's of my arrest.
Okay.
But
all right, so footage of fired assistant district attorney impersonating Justin Spees.
Would it be possible? Can you share your screen so I could see the
Cliff,
results?
it's in the private chat. Go to the private chat and click on the link.
Thank you. I have a hard time navigating.
Oh, I
have
do
a
too.
really hard time navigating because my tremors. So, all right.
And I just
Let's.
because I'm computer illiterate, but
And I had this one up before, and I
oh, you
don't
did.
know why I took it down. Yeah, it was one that I wanted to show anyway. So let's present it.
And you're not sharing your screen, just so you know.
Yeah, it was one
Oh.
of the first videos
Yeah,
I saw of yours.
That's it right there. Yep, that's the one.
Yep. Okay, so let's back it up to the beginning and let's play.
My shit. Oh my shit, man.
Theft of your property, assaulted.
Well, and battered, but and theft of
Yeah.
my person. Theft of my person.
Yeah.
That's a rights violation. You if you're
Yeah,
not doing
they
anything,
stole from you too. They stole your property.
yeah, and they still have that fucking sign. They still have that shit.
Yep.
And
yeah, man, me too, motherfucker. Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. I'm not
Yep, they violated your rights completely there. I mean, we're talking First Amendment. So the sign was freedom of speech.
well, it's yeah, it's freedom of speech.
You
It's
were
Fourth
assembled
Amendment.
there at a public forum. Right
Say
of
again.
assembly.
Yeah,
Right of assembly.
Mm-hmm.
And you were petitioning
Yep.
redress of your grievances with that sign. You were making a statement.
Yep. And it's
so-
also unequal protection because that's protected speech on the sign, and
Yep.
it's also violation of Fourth Amendment rights. You know, free from
Yep.
securing your person from unlawful
searches and
touching
seizures.
and
They
yep.
seized. Yeah. Yeah.
They my
They did all
property
kinds of
and
things.
myself, and so they they ended up charging me with disorderly conduct and then dropping that disorderly conduct charge as part of the plea deal on those felonies that from the vaccine clinic. And but that arrest and also other silencings that have happened at the county commission meeting are all part of the lawsuit that I filed against the county. So I mentioned earlier that I have the city lawsuit where I'm filing suing the city commission of Lawrence along with two of its mayors. But I'm also suing the Douglas County Sheriff Jay Ambrister, who's the guy that had me out of there, along with those two deputies. I'm suing the county commissioners, all three of them, and the county commission, and I'm suing the county administrator as well. And I'm going to be unlawfully arrested again just recently at a county commission meeting on May 1st. So we've amended that complaint to add that second arrest along with other silencings that have happened since I filed that first lawsuit against the sheriff in the county. And then I also have a lawsuit against the USD 497 school board for violating my First Amendment rights as well. same stuff where I wasn't allowed to speak on things that people were allowed to, and then I was kicked out of the meeting for it. I have a lifetime permanent ban from the school district because I didn't wear a mask one time in the school. So I have a permanent ban, so I would only be able to attend on Zoom. And so if they said that I was breaking the rules, they would just hang up on me, and they did that multiple times. And again, these are inconsistencies. In the very same meeting, they allowed people to talk about things that in 5 minutes time they didn't allow me to. And so
Right.
that's a lawsuit that I filed, and that permanent ban is part of that lawsuit as an unconstitutional ban. And then finally, I have a lawsuit against the Lawrence Public Library for violating my First Amendment rights as well when it came to the signage that I had inside the library. And so all four of those lawsuits are going on right now. I just wanted to mention that
Wow.
since we just showed that county footage there. That's one of the lawsuits that is ongoing right now.
Wow. So we do have a question. Let me show it here. Seven Cities question. You are litigating, correct? Question mark. I think you already answered that. There is definitely due process issues as well as dereliction of duty.
He
he's
did
saying.
answer that, Cliff.
Oh, he did. Okay. All right. So I must have missed that. What else do we got in here?
Well, I am suing all those different places right now, and they're all ongoing. I filed it was kind of a string of them. In November 2023, December 2023, then January 2024, I filed each one of those lawsuits. And initially, the city lawsuit and the library lawsuit were combined into one, since they were considered to be the same governmental agency. But since
Part of
then,
the city.
but since then has been severed into its own separate lawsuit, going from 3 to 4 lawsuits now.
Wow. Okay. All right. So this next video, I think this is another one where you had a sign that they didn't like. Censored and tossed. So you've been to a lot of these meetings, man. It's hard to keep up and know when the time frame and all of that. So, but I just love it when you speak at these because you're very articulate. You get through a lot of things within that 3 minutes. And then, unless they interrupt you, which I've seen a lot of videos where they do that as
Yeah.
well. So
But
let's
and I
go ahead and
appreciate
play
that.
this.
Yeah, I have been going to the meetings for years now on a regular basis, and so the setup for this one here is, again, this is May of 2022. That arrest happened the previous month, 2022. I filed for commissioner in April, so I'm a candidate right here. I go up there and I start to speak, and I say, "Evening days, evening beta male." I'd like to start off with a quote from Einstein, who said the thing
Oh
about
yeah. Oh yeah.
smart
Yeah.
is
Yes.
that
I
they
love.
look like crazy motherfuckers, the stupid motherfuckers, and they turn my
Yeah.
microphone off, and then you see
Yep.
the shark deputies start swirling, and they remove me from the meeting, just like that.
Yep. Yep. Let's watch it. Here we go.
Evening days, evening beta male. I'd like to start off with a quote by Einstein, who once said, "The thing about smart motherfuckers is that they look like crazy motherfuckers to stupid motherfuckers."
And that's when they cut off the mic.
Yep, that's when they cut it off right there.
Turn my mic back on. Turn my mic back on. Turn my mic back on.
We're not going to turn your mic back on.
Why are you silencing me?
You directed derogatory language at us, so that's the end of your comment.
You guys go by that. Man, are you guys safe? That's your rule, man. Turn my mic back on. Turn my mic back on.
You can sit down and enjoy the rest of the meeting with us, or you can leave, but your public comment is over.
Why?
What is this? I mean, have people been so pansified that they can't take a tongue lashing with swear words? I just don't understand it. And even juries will frown upon this if you go to court and they hear these things.
Well, but
they're
in this
more
case,
likely to find you guilty. It's like, because you cussed? I mean, come on.
yeah, this isn't even a tongue lashing. Those comments were just generally
Yeah.
said. She straight up
Yeah.
says, "I've used derogatory language and a vulgar language, and so therefore I don't get to speak anymore." It's like, lady, it's called free speech. You mean I can't say the word motherfucker here? Are you kidding me? Under what grounds can I not say motherfucker? I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
And that's what she
Yeah.
straight up says. And so that's part of the lawsuit. That is a
And
First Amendment free speech violation. She says
And this is
you are
in
not allowed to
every
speak because
city
we don't
council
like it.
meeting. They've got these rules where you cannot swear. It's decorum, they say. Well, I say that more people, just like you, all over the country, need to go to their city council meetings, their board meetings, and if they got something to say and they want to use colorful language to do it, that's their First Amendment right. And I think we need to straighten out these local governments right now on all of that. Freedom of speech. Lay
Absolutely.
those ground rules down. We have freedom of speech. You can tirade for whatever you want to for the 3 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever they give you in their meetings, and you are not to be interrupted. Period. And
Right.
I think we need to fight that, and you're doing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It would be a beautiful thing if those rooms across the nation every night were packed with people that were going and Americans that were going to exercise. It would be a beautiful thing.
Talk
The
about
reality
affecting
of it is,
change,
well,
right?
the reality of it is that most of those meeting rooms are empty unless there's a big ticket item that brings people out. But the big ticket item should always be our First Amendment right and exercising that right. That should always bring us out for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Because of your vulgar language.
vulgar language.
What about it?
And I'm like, and what are you talking
What
about?
about
So,
it? I'm campaigning. I'm speaking to
and
my
then we got the
base.
first
I'm going to ask
deputy
you one
up
more
there.
time. You can sit back down in the gallery.
And then this deputy coming through
Yeah.
the door right there, that's Dale Flory, the same guy that offered to have me.
So
That's
one comes up to you, the other one stands in the door, so they're ready to pounce.
The first deputy there that came that's standing next to me is Tyler Crutzel. He's one of the deputies that had me arrested in that previous meeting. He's one of those 3 deputies. And then that deputy that's coming through the door right there, that's Dale Flory. That's the guy that offers Sidon, in that last video to illegally trespass me. Those are those 2 guys.
Yeah.
And there'll be a 3rd deputy that comes from the bottom of the screen. But those are those 3, and then they get me out of there again.
Do you ever realize? I mean, when just the optics of this, it's like there's hyenas surrounding their prey.
Yep,
You
that's
know,
exactly like sharks swirling.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
They
It's
smell
just
blood.
creepy. Yeah,
Mhm.
and they enjoy it. It
Oh, yeah.
seems like.
You've done this to me a lot. You need to let me speak. You need to let me speak. You need to let me speak. This is censorship. I have a right to speak.
You can sit down or you can leave.
I have a right to speak. You're a tyrant. You're a tyrant.
Yeah.
You're a tyrant.
I'm going to give you one last opportunity to sit down or leave on your own.
This is what tyrants do.
Did he just grab you there?
No.
Okay.
I'm your political opposition. You tell me to get out of here. So I come to my base. It's Dr. Speaks, man.
Going down here.
This
Is there anybody else?
fucking bullshit. You fucking know it's fucking bullshit. I'm gonna shut the fuck up, man. This is fucking bullshit. This is fucking bullshit. Wait till I'm up there and I
Just look what they do, man. And you just walk out from here, don't you? You just continue yelling at them and basically leave. It's
Well, I'm not yelling at him. I'm pleading my case. I'm saying, would you guys like it if I'm elected up there and you guys come in and say words that I don't like and I say get the fuck out of there? I'm pleading my case to these deputies. I'm like, if you guys come in as citizens and I'm up there and I say I don't like it and kick you out, are you gonna like it? And I say, no, you won't like it because this is America. What is going on here, guys? Why are you doing this shit to me?
Yeah, it's just flat out wrong. That's what it is.
Flat out wrong. Yep, it's flat out wrong.
All right. And then let's see where we're at. I want to play this one here. It's one of your latest ones, but we're not going to play the whole thing. We're just going to start it. And again, folks, put Dreaded Rabble Rouser in the chat so that people can go and watch all of these videos. Like, share, subscribe, do it all. Let's get the word out as much as possible. Oh, by the way, I did notice Rogue Nation put out a video of yours too, so I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah.
Yep, I appreciate him big time for that.
Yeah, he's a good man. All right, so let's make this big here. Let me present it. Don't forget to do that. And this one is words not allowed at the library. There we go.
Yeah, so just the background on that again, just real quick, because the context is important on this, is that this was just this past Thursday, so a week ago tomorrow, and basically the Lawrence Public Library is holding an open forum called right there on the screen, Civic Engagement 101: Misinformation and Disinformation in the Media. They're going to have panelists up there. One of the panelists is the editor of the Kansas Reflector. His name is Sherman Smith, and the Kansas Reflector has reported numerous articles of misinformation on me. And so I want to go and ask him a question about that misinformation. Again, it's like one of those things like, that's rich. This guy is going to be an expert panelist on a misinformation in the media panel forum. Meanwhile, he's written nothing but misinformation on me. And so one of the things that he had written that was misinformation about me is that the previous year I had gone to a I had gone to a rally at the state capitol to protest that rally. I stood with a sign It was a transgender gender marker rally, and I stood with a sign that said, "If you're born with a dick, then you're not a chick." And that is called the truth. That there is nothing false about that. It's
Biology.
biology. Again, going back to my degree in human development, if anybody tried to tell me the opposite of that, I'd be like, "You fail that part of the lesson. How could you? How could you think anything else?" Now, um, so, and then a friend of mine had a sign there as well that said "Make America Sane Again." And so the Kansas Reflector had snapped a picture of me standing there behind some of these protesters and had written in the caption that that two protesters were standing there with hateful signs. And so I wanted to ask him specifically about what was hateful about that. And so the following month, after that state capitol thing that I just explained, the following month I went to the Lawrence Public Library to attend to attend a gender marker change as well, for a transgender name change as well. And I had that sign that said, "If you're born with a dick, you're not a chick." And I wasn't allowed into the library over that, and that's into the forum over that, and that's part of the lawsuit that I filed against the Lawrence Public Library. And so they had also taken a picture, Kansas Reflector taken a picture and said that and my friend's sign at that time said, "God did not get it wrong, there are only two genders," and had captioned it that these were transphobic signs. And so again, I want to ask Sherman Smith specifically about that misinformation. And so I go to this public forum, which is what this video is here, and I go with my question written on my sign. And my question said, "How is this hateful?" And then put in quotes the saying, "If you're born with a dick, then you're not a chick." And I immediately, upon just standing there silently displaying my sign, I'm told by security that I cannot be in there. The library director is the one that's facilitating this forum. Immediately, they both say I can't be in there with the sign, which is a constitutional violation right there, because that's speech right there. They're admitting it. And that also, secondly, they don't allow protests in there. And I'm like, "I'm not protesting, man. This is called a question." And I'm explaining it to him, like, "This is a question. I'm not protesting." Nice try to frame, like, because words are written on on a piece of cardboard, that means it's a protest. This is called a question. And so they also allowed other signs in there. So the group that was hosting that panel, that forum for this disinformation in the media forum, had signs that were allowed in there as well. And so that's where that's called viewpoint discrimination, content discrimination. They can't allow those signs in there and then immediately say that they're not going to allow other signs and not going to allow my sign. If they're going to allow one group to bring in signs, they have to allow it all. If not, that's called content viewpoint discrimination. It's a violation of unequal protection as well. And so that's what this video is here. And they call the police to have me removed again. But knowing my rights, I'm not removed because I'm not doing anything wrong.
And this video basically just everything that you just said here is what's on the video. So let's go ahead and watch part of it.
They're hosting on misinformation in the media. A couple of panelists going to be there. One of them is Sherman Smith, who's the editor of.
Now, if I remember right, too, Sherman Smith, you guys, you and Lawrence Accountability interviewed him in a public parking lot.
No, that's a different.
That was a different guy.
That's a different shitty reporter. Yeah,
shitty. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that
there
shitty
seems to be a
reporter.
lot of them. Then
They're everywhere. Yeah, it's easy to get them confused. They all have a same type as well. They're like what you think liberal males are. They're like wet noodles. They're like really like flimsy,
smarmy looking guys with the big rimmed glasses.
No backbone, no spine whatsoever. They're like jellyfish. But that guy's name was Chris Condi, but this guy here, his name is Sherman Smith.
Okay, gotcha.
Kansas Reflector. So I want to ask him some questions. We have a question answer period. Hopefully.
Okay, there was the sign, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, I show the sign.
Either way,
that's not the sign, but that's the picture.
I got a sign.
That's the one where they said it was hateful.
Yep, exactly.
Here.
Yep.
That has my question. One of my questions on it. says, how is this hateful? If you're born with ick, coming out, bro?
Good looking at.
Yeah, man. Here's these guys right here. Let's see what he says. Any issues this time?
Do you remember what it says on his T-shirt? Because that's a sign. Whoop, can't hear you. Oh, you're on mute.
Oh yeah, it says Kansas needs local news, and I do confront him at the end. Him and Brad Allen. I go up there and I say, "Well, isn't that a protest? Those are words written down. That's got to be a protest, right? Let's get him out of here. Let's call the police and remove him."
Yeah, I remember that too. Like I said, I watch every video that you guys put out, you and Lawrence Accountability. I watch every one of them.
Appreciate it, man.
So I've been keeping up with this story, and I think everyone should be watching every one of them because it is an ongoing saga, and hopefully we can get change affected in that area. You guys are doing wonderful, wonderful work.
Thank you.
And we
Appreciate
hope
it.
that it does affect change.
Heck yeah.
What's up? Hey,
You know, I also want to say something else too. I remember you and Lawrence Accountability in one of these meetings, and there was a crowd. It was a packed house, and they came to arrest you because you were standing off to the side. And when that cop came in and said, you got to go, blah blah blah, you're disturbing, you're interrupting the meeting, you're disrupting the meeting. What you weren't. And this was the first time that I saw the tide turn in all these meetings where everyone in the crowd was basically saying, leave him alone. They were standing up for you.
Yep.
And the council was trying to get them all to shut up.
Well, the council was, of course, trying to gaslight them and be like, "Oh, so sorry that this has happened to you guys. So sorry he did that." And they're like, "What are you talking about? You motherfuckers did this. We ain't
Yeah,
dumb."
you stopped the meeting. Yeah. Get the meeting started again. Yeah.
Exactly.
Leave him alone.
Yeah.
And I think if you tried to run again, I think you'd have a chance of winning. I think people are starting to see that these people are not good. They're not good. Do you have any intentions of running again?
No, not right now. No. Mm-mm. No, you know, it was an experience. I'm glad I did it, and I learned a lot. But no, not right now, man. No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
This is a library-sponsored event, and protesting of any kind is not allowed on library property. We can't have you holding your signs up.
I love how you got Lawrence Accountability's camera, your camera, and then also the public camera, right, from the meetings. Right?
Well, this one is just my camera on the right, and Lawrence Accountability
and
on the left.
Yep.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep. I like it though.
Yeah, it's
It's
cool.
not a
isn't it?
protest.
We cannot have you holding your signs
But
up.
if you touch me,
I
it's
will not.
battery.
I'm not going to touch
Then
you.
back up off me. I don't know why you're getting so dang close to me.
I want you to either put your sign down or leave.
Nope. Hey, Michael, you getting this? Nope. This ain't a protest.
I mean, this guy is inches away from you.
Oh, I
He's
know.
trying to intimidate, and people can
Definitely.
see right through this bullshit of what he's doing. And
Well,
it
people
does
that
look
have a
like he's
brain.
about ready to hit you or touch you. It looks that way, and people
Mhm.
can see it. So I think that's important to not have that lost on everyone.
And I've told him to back off, and I'm making
Yep.
space between us. I'm backing away from him. I'm not
Yep.
being the aggressor in this.
Yep. And he continues to just kind of like move in. It's like,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd have the patience for this. You say, get the hell away from me or else.
Question.
I'm going to ask you one more time to leave,
Or what?
and I'm going to tell you to leave.
I ain't leaving.
I love that. Or what?
It sounded like he's doing some kind of threat. Yeah.
It was, yeah.
I'm going to call the police.
Go for it.
Okay. Call the cops.
Brad, this ain't a protest, man. This is called a question. You know, like at a library, you ask questions.
Yeah, we don't allow signs and protests, so as we said.
Yeah, like I just said,
You're welcome to be in the event.
this ain't a protest, Brad. So it's a question.
I understand what you're saying, but we're not having any signs.
No, words matter. You just said it. We're not allowed to protest. I'm not protesting anything right now. So I just want to be clear. I'm not protesting anything. I'm asking a question.
I'm going to ask you to leave. You can put the sign away and stay and ask your question, or
For
you
what?
can leave.
But then they want you to leave while they talk about misinformation and disinformation in the press, that's the reason why you're asking the questions, because of the story they did that was misrepresenting.
Yeah. The irony is not lost on me of what's going on here.
It's not lost on me either. And I don't think it's lost on the audience either. It's pretty freaking clear.
Uh-huh.
For what reason? Why
For
can't
what
I?
reason?
Yeah, why can't I have
You
a
can
sign?
protest outside. We don't allow
I'm
signs in
making
here.
it
I'm going to
clear.
ask you to leave.
I'm not protesting.
Because it's
Do we
the
need to-
rules, dummy.
Yeah, that's a violation of my constitutional right. What if this was written on my shirt?
I like how you just deflected the old guy sitting in the chair. He didn't need to be part of it, and you weren't even engaging with him, and you never did, which I think is pretty commendable. It's hard to do that when somebody's taken. They're just their ignorance is there.
It sure is, brother. But it's like I always say, my secret in all of this is that every time I go, I pray and I ask Jesus for words and wisdom. And Jesus has promised us our words and wisdom. He's promised it in Luke and John. You can go read and he'll say, when it comes time for them to persecute you, do not have any anxiety, because I will give you words and wisdom that not even your adversaries can dispute or argue against. And that's a promise from Jesus. And as long as you have faith in him and believe in him and do what he wants you to do, he'll fulfill the promise. And so that's the wisdom aspect of it. Like not allowing that guy. So technically, and not even technically, that guy calling me a dummy should have got him removed from that fucking meeting by the library's own standard,
With
by
their
the
own
library policy.
their own
And so,
rules.
but the wisdom is to not get more or less, triggered by that. Like you said, just kind of roll with that, because the issue is the free speech. The issue is the
Right.
free speech. There's always going to be haters. There's always going to be name callers. There's always going to be shit talkers. Cannot get bogged down by that. Cannot get distracted by that.
Yeah, simply because you want to win them to your side eventually anyway, and it does happen.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
You've seen it.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Could I be in here?
Is
dummy?
it written on your
No,
shirt?
not a good
What if it was?
What I'm saying
what if
is-
it was? What if it was?
I don't have any comments for you, Justin.
Exactly.
Please
No,
put your sign down or leave.
my sign is down, Brad. I
Put it away.
Oh, now I got to put it away. You just said put it down. I put it down. I put it down. I put it down. So I put it down, Brad. So thank you.
All right, are you calling the police? All right.
Do we really have to do this?
Let's come in with guns because we don't like his sign because he's basically calling us out on our bullshit, and we don't want to be exposed for the bullshit.
Isn't it
That's
something?
really what's happening, right?
It is. Yep. Isn't it something?
And I'm not surprised at all. We see this kind of stuff all the time.
So if you guys want to see the rest of the video, go over to the Dreaded Rabble Rousers channel and make sure you watch it and comment.
Oh yeah, because it gets pretty interesting. I love it, and I love that you prefaced it too, because everybody knows what to kind of expect when they do go watch it, and I really do think that people should go watch it.
Yeah.
This next one is your last one. I believe it was done 19 hours ago, and I thought it was pretty powerful. So, do you mind if we play this one?
No, go for it. I'd love you to play it. Yeah.
Okay. Make sure I'm picking the right one here. There we go. There we go.
My name is Dr. Justin Spees. I think Presbyterians are great people. I really do. And, they're Christians. And I think Christians are great people. And they do a lot of good things for a lot of people, for the homeless. One of the things that Christians do that are a good thing is that they're against abortion. They're against baby murder. All followers of Christ should be against murdering little babies in the womb. I saw a statistic on NPR just the other day that said in 2023 there were 1,026,390 abortions in the United States that year.
Sir, sir, Mr. Spees, is this germane to the property in question?
Bart, I'm talking about Christians here and how they're against abortion and how just horrific. Just think of the horror of that. 1 million little babies murdered. Just think of the horror.
Sir, can you just reference the property in question?
Yeah, the property in question is a church of God, and God is against murdering babies. And so I'm pointing out that the reason why Christians are good people is that they're against murdering little babies in the womb. And I just like to just say just a quick little prayer, if I could, please. Dear Lord God, please open the eyes of everyone that supports murdering babies to realize what it actually is that a human life is being murdered right then and there, snuffed out completely. Lord God, please let these baby murderers, these left-wing lunatics, please open their eyes to the fact that out of those 1,026,390 murdered babies, a good percentage of them are going to be trans babies in the future. So they are killing a lot of trans babies. And that in itself seems like a human rights violation in their eyes. Talk about a genocide. Talk about a genocide of the trans community. I mean, just run the odds there of how many of those babies were trans babies. And I pray, Lord, that they begin to use their logic, that those will be trans kids in the future. And they don't want to hurt them when they're born, so I pray that they don't want to hurt them when they're in the womb. And then, Lord, I pray that they take that logic a step further and just realize that they're all babies. They're all little babies. And that they realize the true horror that it is to kill 1 million little babies for no reason whatsoever. I pray, Lord, that you open their eyes. And Lord God, I thank you for making this great country where I'm allowed to come in here and say what I just said, because I have free speech to do it. Thank you, God. I love you.
And freedom of religion. So that was powerful. Not everybody's going to agree with that, and they don't have to. But I, for one, do. Really appreciate that. Justin. Really appreciate that. All right. I think this is where we can end it, man. It's been 2 hours, just over 2 hours. I think we've really shown a good portion of Justin's work. He's kind of dropping in and out anyway, so it might be time to end anyway. And that was a powerful 3 minutes. Yeah, absolutely. All right. There you are. Let's add him to the stage. There we go.
All right.
Yeah, that was powerful.
I was gonna provide just the background on what that's all about, and so and I whenever I make my videos and I speak at the meetings, I always make it clear what portion of the meeting I'm speaking on. So there is a difference between speaking at general public comment and there's a and also speaking on an item on the agenda. And that's one of the things that I encourage people as they go and start participating and paying attention to their government. They're going to learn how these meetings function, and that's one of the things that you need to pay attention to are the rules of the meeting. That's key. That's key. And so, and general public comment is reserved for items that aren't on the agenda. And so, specific agenda items are specifically for that item. And so, when the community speaks on that agenda item, they can only speak on that agenda item. And so, what had happened 2 weeks previously is there was a lady, a public speaker, a lady that was talking on the budget item, and she mentioned this kind of anecdotal uh, uh, thing about how the Christians were talking really bad about the homeless population, and that can you believe that the Christians are talking about homeless like this, and in just a derogatory fashion. The commission then allowed her to basically just denigrate an entire religion, absolutely no problem whatsoever. And so I went up there and I spoke. This was 3 weeks ago. This isn't the one we just showed, but I spoke and I said, well, I just want to present the other half of that, because you guys just allowed Christians to be denigrated up here by that lady. So I want to speak about how good they are. I'm a Christian. I want to speak about it as well. And so I did that meeting, and then the last week's meeting, and then this meeting here as well. And so on the agenda item was this Presbyterian church. And so, to make it germane to that, it's a church. And now I'm talking about Christians. And so again, like I said, I pray for
Oh,
words.
you mean Presbyterians are Christians too?
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Yeah. and so, like I said, I pray for words and wisdom every time I go and speak. And so this was an opportunity that God put on my heart to not only speak positively about Christians, but to advocate within the context of the germane policy that the commission allows to advocate for the unborn, and to be against baby murder. And so the commission opened themselves up, if they're going to allow someone to talk about Christians in a negative way, and to link the budget somehow to Christians. Well, then they've got to now allow someone to link another item to Christians and speak about Christians as well.
Right.
And so that's what the mayor did. He stopped me, and then when I explained, he said reference the building in place, and I said it's a Church of God, and then boom, there you go. It's green lit. It's green lit, and so
Yep.
took the opportunity to say that prayer there, and it was something that was on my heart because I saw that NPR statistic a couple days ago, and just to think of a million babies in 2023, and it really rips at my heart, because in 2022 there was a ballot measure for the state of Kansas. We were the first one in the country after Roe v. Wade was overturned if we wanted to make abortion illegal. And this ultra red middle of the country, as middle as you can get, voted to keep abortion is legal here. And so I think of all those babies here in Kansas, of all those people that voted for that, of the 1 million that are in there, we could have put a stop to that in our own way. That could have been, I don't know, it would have been less than 1 million. It would have been less than that number there. And it's just sad to me to think of all of those babies that have died since then. I was out protesting that stuff. It was part of my campaign as I was running for Douglas County in the summer of 2022. I was out there supporting that ballot measure to restrict baby murder. And it's just sad to think that to lose that measure, and those babies contribute to the number of the 1 million that died in 2023, and those are all preventable deaths. Those are all preventable deaths because it's murder, and it's just really sad. It's just horrific that number. That's 1 million babies. If there was ever something to be upset about, a cause, if people really talk on the left about these genocides that are taking place in their minds in the trans community and other marginalized communities, nowhere else can you point to a group and say 1 million of them have been murdered in a year. 1 million of them, it's babies. 1 million of them murdered, and it just breaks my heart. And so I needed to say something. That was my part. That's what I said.
And you said it well.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.
And so I think that's our show. I think, I mean, we can just wrap it up right there. Enough said. We've shown the body of your work. You are a freedom of speech warrior, and we respect that. And you practiced your freedom of religion right there too in a public forum, and I like that as well. You have a right to do it, just like anyone else. And so, Nikki, do you have any final thoughts, final words before you didn't talk much today.
I didn't need to. But Justin, I do really appreciate you coming on, letting us, feature your work. I realize we're a small channel, but I believe every eye on what can be out there and seeing things will eventually spread the word and make change. I do want to thank our mods, of course, and everybody for being here and spending time with us.
All right. And with that said, I want to also thank the mods and everybody that's coming to the channel. We've seen a lot of new people in here as well. Some of the same suspects in here too. Everyone be sure and go to the Dreaded Rabble Rousers channel. Watch some videos, hit those like buttons, share the videos out, and let's make his channel grow even more, get more eyes on his work, because he's doing excellent work and he's trying to affect change. He's got 4 lawsuits going, which is good. I mean, people need to wake up, and this is one of the ways to wake them up. Let them know that things are not right and things need to happen to change. And when it hits their wallets, and they realize their taxes have gone up, that's when they wake up and they say, hey, this stuff's got to stop. So freedom of speech is something that's one of the most powerful things that we have in our republic, and it needs to continue. So with that said, I am going to go ahead and play our outro. It's a wonderful outro. It's a little long, but we like it, and we appreciate it. You again, Justin, for being with us today. And everyone, have a wonderful rest of your day.
In the heart of the Vigilance Committee, where the sun sets low and the spirits run free, we stand together, hand in hand, watching over the sacred land. We're the keepers of the flame. In the Vigilance Committee, we'll never be the same. Through the trials and the tests, we'll always give our best. Through the storms and the darkest night, we'll shine our light, we'll stand and fight. For the ones we love, for the ones we've lost. In the Vigilance Committee, we'll bear the cost. We're the keepers of the flame. keep the watch, we'll hold on tight. In the Vigilance Committee, we'll stand tall. Together we'll rise, together we'll fall. We're the keepers of the flame. In the Vigilance Committee, we'll never be the same. Through the trials and the tests, we'll always give our best. In the heart of the Vigilance Committee, where the sun sets low and the spirits run free, we'll stand together, hand in hand, watching over the sacred in the heart of the Vigilance Committee, where the sun sets low and the spirits run free, we'll stand together, hand in hand, watching over this sacred land.